one thing that has been on my mind recently is that people think that the whole trans thing, is just like a LARPing, like, oh, it's just something you do for funsies or whatever, and I just cannot believe that, like, they don't understand how long everything that has led up to this point is not being taken into account. So, you know, all the struggles I've had in my childhood, that with like thinking about my gender and all of that stuff. Well before any YouTube, any internet, anything. This is something I was dealing with, and back then I didn't know anyone had this because there was no internet. So I was just like, oh my god, there's something wrong with me. I can't, it made me an outsider. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, you know um and maybe, like, I was like, oh, that outfit looks nice, or whatever. And I'm like, I would love to, have that for myself. And it's like, no, you can't wear that outfit. I'm like, why? You just can't. It's for girls. I'm like, okay, but why is it for girls? Because it is. I'm like, okay, well, I want to wear that outfit now. I feel like that I can be more myself this way. And it's like, no, you can't. And so, I struggled for years just with depression about it, with, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I just, it upset me a lot, and, when I was going through it, thinking about transitioning or whatever, I thought, well, I don't act like a traditional girl or whatever. I mean, my socialization didn't get me there anyway, so it's not. I don't act like normal guy, normal girl, normal whatever. I'm just me because, like, there's no way that, like, like, it's also like crazy when you think about it. It's like, well, you're supposed to act a certain way. That's like literally because you have, like, a slightly, you have a different shape of your body part. You're supposed to act a certain way or not a certain way. Like, that's limiting. That's hella limiting. Like, for that's an insult. It's like, oh, if a woman that doesn't do this or that, and then they're not really a woman now. Like, that's BS. Like, like, I'm sitting here thinking about just these kinds of things, and it frustrates me. It frustrates me because it's just like people, like, want to put me in a box. They're like, well, you have to act this way or you have to act that way, and I just want to act the way I want to act. Like, I'm just trying to be me, the best way I could be me. And, it's gonna come out weird and messy and crazy and misunderstood sometimes. And that's just everyone, I think, sometimes. Like, how, like, it's like, oh, are you acting in a certain way that conforms to your gender or your sex or whatever? Like, that's, when you really think about that, that's crazy sauce. Think about it. Oh, well, you have to think a certain way. You have to feel a certain way. You have to say certain things. No, that is insane sauce. That is insane sauce. I think people start to make stereotypes about stuff. People hate stereotypes, and yet it's like an underlying thing is like, well, men are one way and women are another way. I'm sorry, but there is an entire spectrum of human behavior, like, that happens, like, between male, female, and other. It's just there's so many ways, things that haven't been documented. Like, oh, just because you see something on the surface, you think it's one way, and there's so much more underneath the surface. And so, like, I just think about, like, these people. It's one of the things that initially drove me from Christianity, from believing in God itself, is because I was just like, you know, it I thought, they made me believe that God wasn't love. It's like, oh, well, you have to be this way. God will only love you in a certain way. And it's like, it took me a long time to realize that God just wants you to love one another and to love yourself, and to, remember that he exists sometimes. Like, I thought that was the big deal. and people, like, I don't know. It just, it's frustrating. It is super frustrating because, like, try not to get emotional here. Try to keep the chain on the leash or whatever, but, like, I just think of, like the way, you're like, oh, well, if someone doesn't live this way, then I'm going to be mean to them. Like, there's no justification for just being mean to someone just because they're just trying to live their best life, because they're wearing an outfit, because they're wearing makeup, or they're not wearing makeup, or because, they bind the breast, or they didn't bind the breast, or, like, there's just, like, that's insane. Like, it's insane to me. It really is. Like, and it's just like, that's why I hate those, like, oh, conversion therapy or whatever. It's like, you're gonna try to change someone to be something else that you want them to be, as opposed to what they want to be. Like, did you ever take into account, like, what they might have wanted? You don't know what God's journey is for them. You're trying to tell them what God's journey is. That's between the person and their God, or whatever. Or they don't believe, then they don't. Like who are you, like, to come over, like, and say, well, you should, like, not be doing this or that. It's like, I'm trying to help. I try to help people in the ways that I can. Help people who are in need, and try to help myself be better every single day. And, like, it's like, how are we going to be better towards, like, those who are LGBTQ, or anyone? Like, how are we going to do that if we're not, living with love? How are we going to do that? Like, I thought that was the number one priority, to treat people like you never know if you're interacting with God himself. Like, I thought that was supposed to be the way. Like, if God, like, put on a dress, like, what, are people gonna stop loving God? Like, I do wonder. Like, no one ever, thinks about these types of things, because everyone's like, oh, God's a guy or whatever. It's like, oh, well, if God put on an outfit that shaped his proportions a certain way, or their proportions a certain way, like, is that going to, like, make you not love God and remember all the times he came through for you? Like, that's the thing I think about. Those are the things I think about. Like this is a spiritual thing. Like, to me, it's not just like, oh, well, oh, well, oh, I'm just uncomfortable or whatever. It's like, just worry about your own problems. Like, to worry about, like, how you gonna make this place a better place. Like, how are you gonna make your relationship with God better? Think about those kind of, those apples, um, like, to me, it's just, it's insane. It's insane. And, like, I can't, it's hard for me to take it. It's like, I thought the judgment was supposed to be for God. I thought that was his thing, not your thing. You're supposed to love. I thought that was the main thing in the whole thing. It's just in one book. Whatever holy text that you have, I thought that was the main thing. Is like, love yourself, love one another, and live in balance. I don't know. It's like, I'm just gonna